Google stock has been leading the way for the big technology firms in the US after a strong earnings report. Is the buying done for now? Will this stock fall into the wider risk-off mood narrative? If you are new to these videos, welcome. My name is Connor and I'm the Senior Market Analyst at the global brokerage firm Zenfinex. I provide videos to this channel on a daily basis and I cover a wide range of markets. Today's forecast video will be a short-term Google stock price forecast. I will look at the key market drivers before conducting a technical analysis. At the time of recording this video, Google stock is sitting around the $2,780 per share mark. Volatility has been high in this stock and for good reason as well. Their fourth quarter earnings were actually quite astonishing really. They reported revenue of $75.3 billion. That was up 32% from the previous year and it also beat expectations by 4.9%. Earnings per share were $30.69, up 38% from the previous year and actually beat expectations by 12.5%. And finally, we have their internet search and other revenue, and that was up at $43.3 billion. No surprise, it was up, and it was up a massive 36% from the previous year. I think you get the message here. The outperformance was or is really clear to see, and as a result, the stock price increased 6% and briefly, and I actually say briefly, created a new all-time high. The rejection, it was quite snappy. Now this is when I turn really to the bigger picture catalysts that are going on in the background. And there's nothing wrong, I'd like to stress, there's nothing wrong with Google as a company. They continue to show outstanding performance, which is why the long-term direction of this stock has been bullish. However, right now, there are increasing concerns that the Federal Reserve is way behind inflation and the market is pricing really interest rate hikes coming as early as March. Now, the dilemma for the Federal Reserve seems to be hiking at least 4 times this year and causing what's maybe a form of market tantrum. Alternatively, they walk back and they lose all their credibility in their efforts to fight inflation. Either way, pressure is going to be coming on both sides, and for risk assets such as Google stock, they will be hoping that the taper timeline is not too aggressive. Therefore, watch out in the next couple of weeks for how the Federal Reserve begins their asset tapering programs. That's going to have a massive impact on these sorts of risk assets. So my prediction really for the next couple of weeks is therefore to remain patient. There are clear valuation concerns with the big tech firms at the moment, and then with a world with tighter financial conditions incoming, it could be a bumpy ride for stocks like Google. But with that being said, there are other mega cap firms that look more vulnerable to the downside than Google, such as Facebook, Meta for example. Therefore I do expect Google to cope with the risk off tone a lot better than most of its big tech rivals. When you look at the chart for Google stock, you can actually see that you can see this outperformance that we had really. So from the 1st of Feb when they announced their Q4 earnings, we had that really big gap to the upside. If I zoom in on that, but I wanted to just quickly zoom out just so you could see just how well Google stock does perform, and it kind of shrugs off any negativity in the market. So we actually could have treated this last dip really as an opportunity to buy, even though it was the first time it traded below the 200-day moving average since the pandemic, which was the case as well with the Nasdaq as well, because obviously they're quite well correlated. As you can see, yeah, we had that gap in the market, and that gap in the market has now been filled. So when we created this new high, this is obviously going to be our take profit, our target for any buying opportunities that we can get. As you can see, the market is say pausing, it's accumulating liquidity, whatever you want to call it. There isn't a clear direction from this price action. We can see we broke a clear structure to the downside, but I wouldn't actually, my opinion, I wouldn't be selling Google stock. I think the company is just too good, and I don't think you can keep these kind of stocks down for too long. What I would like to say is maybe we get a retest of the 200-day moving average, and then we can look to buy from there potentially, as we can see that happened back in January. But if we move on to something like the hourly chart, we might be able to get something a bit clearer in terms of a buying opportunity. Now, as you can see, there is a order block left behind here. This would be, for me, the floor of the market for the next few weeks. I can't see the market dropping any below that. But as you can see, we've actually filled now all of this huge gap that we had in the price. You can see the sheer volume of the buying power that we had from this level, and you can see that this isn't really a convincing drop. So I see this really as acting as our support level. This order block here acting as our support level for the next few weeks. What we could see here is we have this little jump in the market. So my buying signal for me would be a filling of this inefficiency gap that we have here. Maybe our stop loss maybe just sitting just below that last piece of selling pressure, and then for me I'm going to be aiming for those highs up at around 3038 for the next couple of weeks, which is a massive 13.9 risk reward trade, which is really nice. For me, all the signals are for this stock to continue outperforming. The inflation data is actually due out today. By the time you watch this video, the data will probably already be due out. And I'd just like to stress that if we were to get a number which is slightly cooler than expected, then I could see Google stock really benefiting, and other risk assets benefiting from this as well. Even if we were to get a really strong high inflation figure, I'm wondering whether the higher inflation is already priced into the markets by now. If that's the case, then I see no reason why we can get some upside in Google stock as well. But for me, it's going to be a case of buying on the dips and looking for breaks of structure on the lower time frames, such as the 15-minute, 5-minute, whatever you want to call it. But that's my opinion for Google stock in the next few weeks. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Make sure you've liked and subscribed to the channel as well. It does help boost the channel. We actually appreciate all the support that this channel is getting, and it is growing at a nice rate, and I appreciate all the comments as well. Other than that, I hope everyone has a great trading day. I'll catch you all for the next video, which will be tomorrow. Cheers.